signs, sun, moon, and stars. It's June 22nd, 2025. This is Mazzaroth Decoded, and we are back. This is Golden Gate Codebreak. Let's do this, family. All right. The first place we're starting is here in Taurus. We're looking at 73 PS Schwarzman Walkman. And these group of what I call the Watchmen comets are very, very important in our watch in heavens. And what we're looking at here is 73 PS Watchman aligning with the horn. This is the horn of the Watchman. And the only thing that the name Walkman is missing is the T, and our master provides that with the cross. So we're looking at the Watchman, and we're looking at the alignment today with the horn of Taurus. And this is a warning sign. The alignment happens at 9:57 Pacific Standard Time. And as I'm making this video, it's 9:37. So we're about to see the alignment of this Watchman comet with the horn of Taurus. And what we're going to do with this goes pretty deep. And in order for me to assure that everybody understands the things I'm talking about, we're going to take a step back. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at a research chart. Let's go ahead and go there now. We're going to be looking at a research chart from the Alpha and the Omega. This is by Jim Cornwell, copyright 1995. This is Taurus and Pleiades. This is his star chart. I'm going to go ahead and connect this as I do with most of the videos, and you will be able to go yourself and do more research. What we're going to do today is we're going to get into the information that he has here for Taurus. We're going to go ahead and cover this entire study because it's very important to understand a lot of these things. There are multiple other Mazzaroth research studies that cover Taurus in a slightly different way. But this one goes into some of the history, and I really wanted to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to hear some of this history on Taurus and some of the points that are made are directly involved with this sign. So what we're looking at is, let's go ahead and quickly jump back to Stellarium. We're looking at 73 PS Schwarzman Walkman today, lining up with the horn of Taurus. But if we go back, let's go ahead and center here. And we're going to just take a step back, and we're going to be looking here and this report is really focused on this Golden Gate. We're going to show you how this all works from a biblical and also we're going to call it star language. What are we looking at as far as the star language? We're looking at 73 PS, uh, Swashman Watchman, aligning at the Golden Gate of the ecliptic, and this is directly involved with the Pleiades, the Hyades, what they call the Eye of Taurus, which is Aldebaran, and this constellation is currently holding multiple other heavenly bodies that increase the information that we can receive about what we're looking at within the constellation. We can see on this day the Mercury, the messenger, is between Zeta Tauri and Elnath. This is directly between the horns of Taurus. And we can see the Sun and Iris are in between the horns. And we have the Biela comets that are in directly related to the horns of Taurus. And on this day, they're beginning to pass the Sun and Iris. Iris again is the eye of God as one of our codes. We also see Hygiea. This is asteroid Hygiea as a comet walkman or watchman passes the Golden Gate of the ecliptic. And so this is a great sign in the heavens. We can see that what we're looking at in the heavens is all related with this area between the Golden Gate of the ecliptic and the actual Silver Gate, which is related to the hand of Auriga, the club of Orion. It can also be seen as the tip of the sword of Orion. And then the foot of the bride. If you've been following this channel for a while, then you know we're going back to the ancient times with the star language. And before any of the Babylonian corruption, or any Greek or Roman philosophy or star lore. We're looking at Gemini being a bride and a bridegroom. And so what we're looking at with this constellation is the foot of the bride being right at the Silver Gate. And if you're not familiar with what Silver Gate is, it is the where the Milky Way comes through the ecliptic on this side of the Mazzaroth. And we could flip that over, and then it would match to um, Ophiuchus and Scorpius and Sagittarius in that area. And we'll be doing a report on how that works within this video. So what we're doing is we're going to dive deep into this Taurus constellation, and that way we understand what what I've found, and you'll have a better, deeper grasp of what we're going to be talking about. So here we go with this study. This is Taurus and the Pleiades, and this is a deep dive into the constellation of Taurus. Is known as the Bull and appears on the meridian on January the 15th, one of the oldest constellations which the sun appeared in at the beginning of spring between about 4000 and 1800 BC. To the ancient Middle Eastern civilization, spring signaled the start of the new year. Today, the sun is in Pisces at the beginning of spring due to the precession. I'll go ahead and add that's due to the precession of the equinoxes, and that's very, very important to understand when you're calculating dates and times, and that's a whole nother study. And does not enter Taurus until June the 21st, which was yesterday. So we'll be showing how that all works in actuality using Stellarium. We'll be able to show you exactly how all of this works live with the Stellarium web online, and you can use this yourself. And hopefully, by us using this software, it allows you to learn how to use it yourself, and you'll be able to be off to the races, finding all kinds of stuff. So the bull, a symbol of strength and fertility, figures prominently in the mythology of nearly all early civilizations from Sumer to India to Northern Europe. In the face of Taurus, there is a V-shaped group of stars called the Pleiades. So let's quickly jump back over. We're going to go ahead and look at this group of stars here in the head of Taurus, and off to the left we're looking at what they call the Pleiade group of stars, and this is what they call the called out virgins. And then you have the Pleiades, and these are what they consider the unwise virgins. So you have the wise and the unwise on the balancing, and what we're looking at is this comet as a watchman passing between these two groups of maidens. So we'll just look at that as these are the virgins or the maidens, and they're on the balancing beam, which we call the Golden Gate of the ecliptic. And this red line coming through the Taurus constellation is the ecliptic line, and this is the line that the sun, moon, and stars travel through. And when we say stars, we would mean the what they call wandering stars like Uranus, and the rest of what we call today the planets. So let's go ahead and go back to the study, and let's dig in. This in the face of Taurus, there is a V-shaped group of stars called the Hyades. The ancient knew this cluster as the rainy stars because their rising heralded the beginning of autumn and the onset of the rainy season. In Taurus, the better known group of maidens is the Pleiades, or the Seven Sisters, a small but very noticeable cluster of stars on the bull's shoulder. They were called the sailing stars, for early groups Greek seamen would set sail only when they were visible. On a clear night, a person can resolve six individual stars, and thousands of years ago it was likely that seven were visible. The constellation of Taurus, the bull, has had has the same meaning in every language, which is a great beast, a bull or ox, with his head lowered and his horns pointed forward. He is untamable and irresistible, charging forth, rampaging, raging head down, and so to bring destruction to all who are in his way, a symbol of the coming destruction of the wicked, of Christ in his judgment. Horse is the only Horse is only the forepart of the bull. It appears to grow right out of Aries, the lamb. Thus, the lamb is charging into the bull. In Capricornus, we see the half goat, half fish giving birth to the fish, the Church of Christ. The slain lamb giving birth to the people of God. Here we see the lamb now rising to the Christ coming in great glory and judgment. The opposite constellation is Scorpius. The scorpion, a picture of Satan, engages in striking the left foot of Ophiuchus, the serpent holder, and being crushed with his right foot. When Christ Taurus rises in his judgment, then Satan, Scorpius, that old serpent, the dragon, the devil, will disappear into the bottomless pit. Okay. Also see Monoceros, the unicorn, for information relating to Taurus. The Assyrians had the winged bull so often sculpted as guardian of Assyrian palaces. Taurus was also the inspiration for the Cretan Minotaur, a creature with the body of the bull and the head of a man. The Sumerians had the sacred bowl of light. Even the Israelites had their idol, the golden calf of the Exodus. Aaron made a golden image of a male calf in order that the people might worship the Lord under this form in Exodus 32:4. It is very unlikely that the golden calf was a representation of an Egyptian deity. The feast held in connection with this worship was a festival to the Lord, 32:5. After the division of the kingdom, Jeroboam set up two golden calves in his kingdom, one at Bethel and one at Dan. You can read this in 1 Kings 12:28 through 29. Many bull figurines have been found in early Israelite Iron Period from 1200 to 1000 BC. The Druids also worshipped the bull. They held their spring festivals when the sun was in Taurus, and they especially honored the Pleiades, a cluster of stars in Taurus. In Scotland today, there is a legend that says that on New Year's Eve, the bull rises in the twilight and crosses the sky, which is what happens astronomically. To the Egyptians, the deity with the bull was Apis, the bull of Memphis. Apis was an actual bull chosen to serve as the earthly vessel of the soul of Osiris. Hold on one second. I've got to pause. I'm having something going on with my battery. Excuse me for a sec. Okay. Apis was an actual bull chosen to serve as the earthly vessel of the soul of Osiris. god of the sun and of the Nile. On the death of each Apis, the spirit of Osiris transferred itself to a successor. The animal meant to inherit the divine duty was recognized by certain markings. When a bull fitting the description was found, he was called Apis and lived as an object of reverence and sacrifice. The living bulls were worshipped in Egypt. Memphis was the first capital of United Egypt in 3200 BC, south of modern Cairo. Legends describe the founding of the city of Menes, the traditional first king. The original name of the city was the White Wall. Later it was called Neferpepi, after the name of the pyramid of Pepi I of the 6th dynasty. It is from this name that Memphis is derived. The chief god of Memphis was Ptah. Also, Nefer, Nefer, also prominent, as Memphis was the worship of the Apis bull, whose famous burial place, the Serapeum, is located just west of the necropolis of Saqqara. Saqqara, a village of northern Egypt near Cairo. It is the site of the oldest Egyptian pyramids, including the step pyramid built by Djoser during the 3rd dynasty, 2980 to 2900 BC, but conservative sources place it around 2600 BC, as seen in Old Kingdom dynasty picture of Pharaoh Zoser. I think they're talking about Djoser, I think his name is. All of the biblical references to Memphis are in the prophets. Hosea, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel declared that the Lord would destroy the idols and put an end to the images of Memphis. And you can find that in Ezekiel, and then you have all these other scriptures as references. Today, there's very little of the ruins for tourists to view. The Babylonians looked on the bull as a symbol of their greatest gods. The bull was a sacred animal in Phoenicia and Syria. Among the Semitic Canaanites, the bull was the symbol of Baal. It appears that the bull was in some way connected to the reproductive process of plants and animals, and with the sun, it symbolized strength, vigor, and endurance. Okay, now we're moving to the bull from the Holy Bible. Job 21:7. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, are mighty in power? Their seed is established in the sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. Their bull gendereth and faileth not, their cow calveth and casteth not her calf. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They take the timbrel and harp and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore they say unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him, and what profit should we have if we pray unto him? The words ox, oxen, bullocks, and calves appears at least 636 times in the Holy Bible. In the New Testament, the Greek word are ox, oxen, and calf, denoting anything young, whether plants or the offspring of men or animals. The idea of being tender and delicate, hence a calf, a young bull, a heifer. In Luke 15, 23, 27, 30, in Hebrews 9, 12, and 19, and in Revelation 4 and 7. And for your own reference, you can look into all of this information. Here in the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and connect these dots, but what we wanted to do is give you some reference to this constellation of Taurus, because we're going to be digging deep into the language that we're being presented right now in this constellation. It really goes deep. I can't do this in a short period of time, and I needed to have some reference points. So we know we have some information about the Pleiades. We know we have some information about the Hyades. Now we have this ecliptic line that's going through the traditional ecliptic, and they call this the Golden Gate of the ecliptic. And this is the line that goes between the Pleiades and the Hyades, or the head of the bull. So let's look closer here. So we can see we're on this line, and this is the line between the wise and the unwise. We have heaven as Uranus, a representation of the higher realm. And then we have the sun with Iris, which to me is like eyes on this sign. And of course, we have Comet Biela that is right there, and we'll end up reporting on Comet Biela. I'll probably have to pull this up because we have an alignment here with the horn, and Mercury directly between the horns, and Jupiter's directly in what they call the Silver Gate. So this is some very, very strong language. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a step back. So we have some language about the Golden Gate. And I just watched a video by Decoding with Cody. I'm going to go ahead and attach that link also. And this is also a message to Cody from that channel. Um, the reason that the Golden Gate Bridge is there uh, on the Pacific side, they also have the Silver Gate on the opposite shore. And these are actual representations of the heavenlies. And everything that's encoded, and all the codes that you have found, and all of the information that has been dug up, is really there's a deeper message. And I'm hoping to be able to use this video to help the decoders dig a little deeper into what the message actually is. Because the powers that be use this uh, this as uh, encoded rituals, and they're looking at the stars to do their star rituals, which are then turned into um, death rituals, magic, all kinds of evil that they use that's associated with this star language. And when you have certain alignments, there's very, very powerful things going on in the heavens, and they know exactly what's going on. And so what we're looking at is their language of ritual magic. And this is all tied to the stars on the deepest level. So we're looking at here is the golden gate of the ecliptic with this alignment. And then we're going to go ahead and come forward and we're going to watch this Watchman comet make its transition to the horn today. So today we're looking at this comet making its direct alignment. I think that was 947, something like that. We'll just say 950. We can get right on. Maybe it's 957. There we go. So now we're looking at this comet has just passed the horn of Taurus. This is the watchman at the horn. And we can see that as a trumpet call. We can see that as a warning call. This is the watchman's horn. And it is passing another very, very important part of the constellation of Taurus, which is the head of Taurus with Aldebaran and the Hyades. It is as if it's going right by the golden gate of the ecliptic and passing directly across the head as if to show or give us a sign of this part of the constellation. So it's important for us to recognize that. And we're going to go ahead and move forward. And you can see how this comet ends up aligning with Venus. And Venus enters into the horns of Taurus on July the 12th. And then we'll make its alignment here between the 16th and 17th. And that's also very, very important in the signs that we're looking at. We're looking also at Venus coming across the golden gate of the ecliptic on the 9th and the 10th. Between the 9th and the 10th, it'll actually happen on the 9th. Venus will cross that golden gate of the ecliptic. And these are all very important parts of this decoding message. This is the bright and morning star, and we have this is a representation of our master, and we have this comet now directly between these horns. and moving through the middle of the horns of Taurus, which is another. You could do an entire study on just this location between these horns of Taurus. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a step back, and we want to look at something that I found that is very, very, very important. We're going to be looking at, okay, so what we have here is a very important sign that I found right here. And I have reported on this before. I'm not sure if it was, I believe it was on my other channel, Kadash Culture. Um, but I need to bring this out, and we need to talk about, we need to go back in order to move forward. So this is the area that we were talking about on the flip side, which is actually called the Golden Gate. And the Golden Gate is the area between Ophiuchus and Scorpius. And then on the other side of the Golden Gate, you have Sagittarius and Corona Australis. And Scutum also is on the other side. And right going down the line, you can see the Milky Way goes directly through here. This is a very, very special section of the Milky Way because the clouds are gold and pearlescent, and it has very, very striking coloration, and a lot of it is golden. You can even see it pulled back. Stellarium doesn't really give you the ability to see it very well. But if you use some other software to really look at these constellations with the true coloration of this area, you'll be blown away. It matches multiple things in scripture. This is where the son, the bridegroom, is seated on his throne. With when they explain heaven with all the colors and everything, it's actually the sun in the Golden Gate with all of the colors, and he's seated on the throne, and that is also shown to us in the death and resurrection, the 3 days and the 3 nights. The sun is actually below the ecliptic for 3 days and 3 nights on the 22nd, 23rd, and the 24th of December. And this image here is right before the sun goes below the ecliptic. This is the last day of it being above the ecliptic, and we can see that it is directly in the center of the Milky Way, or what we will call the Golden Gate. And it's very, very important that we see this Watchman comet is right there heralding with Mercury, the messenger. We can consider Mercury a watchman because Mercury is one of the messaging angels, and we could go into details about the the duties and the titles of all of these angels, but in this report, we're going to keep it simple. This is inside of the constellation of Ophiuchus, between the legs of Ophiuchus, which is considered the hupa or the marriage chamber. We have the watchman and Mercury, the messenger. We're getting a message. We see Venus is transitioning directly into the Golden Gate, and we see the sun is directly in the middle of the gate. And what we're going to have to do for this report, you can see Irene is right there. You also have a 107P Wilson Harrington, and hopefully these other ones show up. Sometimes they just don't show up in the mix. I found like 4 comets that are all here on this day. Some of the other ones don't seem to be showing up. So we're going to focus on what we do have before us. So we have Venus and the Sun and Saturn. And it's very, very, very important for us to dig into this really quick. This location in the heavens is essentially the area where there is a lot of nebula, and you can even see as I move the mouse, these nebula really, really pop. There's multiple nebula in this area, but if we watch this transition, we can see that the sun, we can see this nebula, and the sun aligns with directly with this nebula today. And it also enters, I mean, we're talking about December the 22nd every year. Sorry. And this alignment in 2017, we're looking at the sun in the Golden Gate with Saturn, and you can also consider Venus in the gate with them. And this is very, very, very important star language, family. It's very important. I put a video uh, in my community post. And if you watched that video, there is a very special code that was put in one of the apocryphal books. I believe it's the Gospel of Judas. And I have had information about that for a very long time from other sources also, that there is a ancient Star Lord tale about Saturn and the end of Saturn's reign and the end of what they would call Satan. or at least the imprisonment. And we can actually, supposedly, we can decode that in the heavens. And so I have been watching for that for a very long time. In 2020, when we had the grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, I believe it was December the 21st. And we'd have to go back and check on that. But that was the grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. I had made all kinds of videos on my Kaddish Culture channel because I was under the impression that was the final battle of the ages in the heavens, and that Jupiter was finally casting uh, Saturn down. And you can go back to my Kadesh Culture channel and you can see at that time in 2020, in fall through December, I was posting about that sign. And it becomes very, very, very important when we go back and we dig into more of the details of these signs and how they're connected to what we're seeing today. And this is very important because I found this comet Walkman or Watchman, and it is directly connected to this sign back in 2017. Now, we all know we saw the Revelation 12 sign in 2017, and if you were connected to that group of Star Watchers and Heavenly Decoders. We also saw the dragon sign in, I believe it was November or December. And I'd have to go back and do a bunch of work to show that. So we're not going to dig into that, but that dragon sign was also, I believe, in uh, 2017, when that was found. I believe that also transpired in December of 2017. And I believe it was before this that we're looking at here. But again, I would have to go and dig all that up, and it would take me too long to do that. So that you can go and look uh, on my old channel, and you'll be able to dig that up. So what we're looking at here is this comet that's directly related to our sign today of the horn of Taurus. We can go all the way back. We can even go back before, and we can see how this is inside of the altar. It goes directly through the constellation of Virgo. It's directly in the womb with Vesta and Venus. Remember the Machaults comets that do this crazy. If you were following in 2017, there's some serious star language going on in the heavens. You can see how this is related with Vesta and Venus. It goes. You can see it's directly above the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter. Um, all of this language was involved in the Revelation 12 signs. And now what we're doing is we're looking at how this, I mean, you can see, look at this sign here on the 16th. This is incredible. You have the Watchman comet, you have the moon, the bride, you have Mercury as the messenger, you have Venus as either the bride. This could represent uh, Venus. Could, I don't know if Venus is a morning or an evening star here, but either way, look at this language. You have the sun entering into the Golden Gate. Saturn is sitting right there in the gate. And again, this is all marriage language because we're looking at the Hoopa, the constellation of Ophiuchus is a perfect Chuppah from the ancient Israelite marriage chamber. And this line that comes down from Sabik goes directly into the Golden Gate. This marriage chamber is represented by the legs of Ophiuchus, one coming from Zeta Ophiuchi and the other from Sabik. The one coming from Zeta Ophiuchi goes down into the Scorpio constellation with the claw of Scorpio. So we're looking at the moon and the Watchman comet being inside of the Hoopa with Venus and Mercury. Very, very, very important language. And again, all we have to do is move slightly forward, and we can see how this comet on the 28th begins its transition into the Golden Gate. And if we look on that day, we can see how this is another that I did not know. I did not have this on my radar back then, and I did not have um, this understanding is much deeper because we're looking at a watchman crossing the line into the gate at the same exact time that Venus enters into the tabernacle. So let's back up just slightly. We can see here on the 26th each year, the sun enters the tabernacle. You can see that right there with the sun lining up with the line above the tabernacle in Sagittarius. And on that same day, we have Venus and the sun directly in the gate. And they're lined up, Venus is lined up just outside the bow of Sagittarius. We can also look at that as a vessel or a boat. And we can watch this transition as this comet watchman crosses this line of Ophiuchus or the leg. This is the exit of the Hoopa. We can see that on that exact same period of time, it's probably not exact. Let's go ahead and see. Um, okay, so now we're directly lined up, and Venus is still just outside the line. So we're looking at the Watchman coming out of the hoopah directly before Venus enters into the chamber or the temple or the tabernacle with the sun inside. This is incredible because we're looking at Saturn being outside and all of these things transitioning as Saturn. We're looking at a sign in the heavens in 2017, 1228. This comet Watchman is directly associated with this very, very important star language that happened in 2017. Now, the connection, uh, we have an 8-year connection, and I am finding all kinds of connections with this comet already, and we haven't even gotten to July. And so I wanted to bring this forward and backwards. So we went all the way back to 2017. We're looking at this comet. And again, there's multiple comets here. Some of them are just not showing up. We have 107P Wilson Harrington. We actually have multiple comets that are in this area, and for some reason, you know how it is with this. It does this. When I find those, and I'll just have to come back and do another report. Oh, there we go. There's one of the Macholts. And if I click into them, then I'll probably lose the one I'm on, and I'm focused on that. But we're going to come back to this Macholtz and Wilson Harrington, and there's actually, I believe, 2 more that are involved in these signs. And it's all coming into fruition now in 2025, and it's all beginning today with this alignment. Let's go ahead and go back to that. We're looking at 6/22, and we're looking at 2025. And so now we see right here, we're looking at 73P Walkman or the Watchman today, making its alignment with the horn of Taurus. This is a warning sign. This is a direct warning sign. I think most of you know that there's stuff going on, and we need to be on high alert. We can see how uh, in the same day, we have this evening, we have the moon coming into the Pleiades. This is another very important sign. We have Iris that is directly between the horns. And again, Uranus is a representation of heaven. And so we're looking at very important signs in the Mazzaroth that we need to keep our eyes peeled on. There are things happening that bring scripture to life. I'm just taking a quick look to see if there's anything else. And we need to keep our head on a swivel. This is the Watchman at the horn. now with the bride in the Pleiades all happening today. And this, again, this comet is involved in a 8-year sign. We're going to come back to this Golden Gate Codebreak because there's more here, but I'm already over an hour and I want to be able to dig in more to these signs. I have an entire other video coming up that's involved in these signs of the sun and Jupiter and all of these signs that are about to transpire in Gemini. There's some really, really, really deep language. I just made a post in the community about the foot of the bride, and that's what's coming next. We just wanted to make sure we got this first part out. This code break is separate from my just traditional Mazzaroth decodes because it's not set on a specific date. We're going back. We have to go back in history to really do this decode right. On the next one, I'm going to bring up a different star Mazzaroth research page on Taurus, and that's going to help us to understand the final keys that we need to understand this language that we're seeing in the constellation of Taurus. Because we have Venus that's just about to enter. I'm going to go ahead and click into this constellation of Taurus. And you can see how as soon as you do that, you lose your comets. But we need to be able to see this transition. And we're just going to watch. And we have the 27th as the day that Venus enters into the constellation of Taurus. And I'm finally, because I'm in my own apartment now, that's a minor praise report that I'm going to do a post in community about that. But I finally that's the only way I'm able to do this is I had to get an apartment. I spent a long time working really hard to get to this point, and that's the only way I'm going to be able to maintain doing these is I've got to have a place where I can set up and do my work. There's so much that I have. I have my entire bed is all my information that I have for doing these decodes, and it's just everywhere because of the nature of what I had to go through. So I'm back up. Hopefully, this is a blessing to the body, and we will be back with another part to this because it needs to be continued. And we have a whole bunch more language that's about to go down in this constellation. And we want to make sure that we bring all of that information to its fullest. So thanks again for coming, and we will see you very soon. I'm going to begin working on the other video, and I should have that out before very, very long. I have a job that I have to go do later on, so I need to make sure that I get it done as soon as possible. So thanks again for coming, and please help out with spreading this message if it was a blessing to you. Thanks. Have a great day.